Hey everyone, welcome to PunkCast. My name is William Maxwell. I'm a student of Web3 and the owner of Punk 9527. Cryptopunks are 10,000 uniquely generated characters stored permanently on the Ethereum blockchain. No punk is the same. This is a show dedicated to celebrating the punks behind the punk. My hope for this podcast is that we capture the essence of the punk culture, elevate the brand and the individual behind the punk. One last thing. Projects discussed on the show is not financial advice. Crypto and NFTs are a volatile and risky asset class. Please always do your own research. Other than that, let's go. GM, hi, and welcome back to another episode of PunkCast. Today we're back with a special episode. We've reached a milestone here at PunkCast, episode 69. And we've got a special punk to enforce the special day. Punk 8834 with 3 Attys, Shadowbeard, earring, and police cap. In real life, he's an avid Michigan Wolverines fan, VeeFriends maxi, NFT connoisseur, and founder of DDT, a water pong project. Please welcome GoBlue to the show. GoBlue, how are you?
What's up, man? Long time coming. I'm happy to be on here.
I know it has been a long time, 69 episodes, and it's been probably just as long since we've sort of last met. That was when was that? That was NFT NYC 2022, right?
22, yes. It was last year. It was last year. It was a very incoincidental meeting, and just from there, you've been pretty much the same guy, and it's pretty cool to see how you went to 69 episodes so far with this idea that you came up with.
Yeah, I know. It's I do remember that. I was like hitting you up, going, "Blue, are we gonna do this podcast?" And you're like, "No, man, I'm gonna wait out to the episode 69." And a year later, here we are. But it's been a highly coveted spot, so hopefully you'll feel special because of that. Because I've had a few punks that have recorded, and they're like, "Can I be episode 69?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, man, that one's already taken."
Yeah, no other punks can fill this legendary spot. We had to do this legendary meeting. It was just funny how, I said that, like, I want to do 69 episode, but then you sometimes don't. You think, like, will it get to episode 69? Is this like a real series? And like I said, it's just really cool looking at the journey, seeing how you got to this point.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. But why don't we start off with a little bit about yourself? And if you could start off with, your handle, GoBlue. Why GoBlue?
Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to that. So that was before I bought my punk. No, it was after, I think, I bought my punk. I got the ENS, and I was like, okay, so this world we're going to go into, right? NFT world, and you have your own identity. And I was thinking, like, what is not going to change about myself? And that's what it was. I just would never change my sports team. And that's it's so funny. A lot of my friends in real life know I like Michigan, but it's not really a big thing. You know what I mean? But here it's kind of like a big thing because that's kind of the name I'm known for.
GoBlue. Nice. Does that mean are you more of a basketball fan or a football fan? Like, where would you sort of bucket yourself?
That's actually a really good question. I'm probably in the middle, but I guess my love first started with Michigan football. So I grew up about 30 minutes away from the campus, and I remember I was watching this game. It was like 12 years old or 11 years old. It was at Michigan versus Michigan State, a night game. And then Braylon Edwards caught the ball at the end, and it was just like I was like, man, this is the coolest guy I've ever seen in my entire life. And then just from there, I just loved Michigan football.
Hooked ever since. I must admit, being in Australia, we don't get much exposure to American football, but we did get some exposure to basketball. And I did have an appreciation for, I think it was Chris Webber, the Fab Four, that sort of came out of that era when I was collecting basketball cards.
Yeah. It's the Fab Five, man. But yes,
Fab Five, there we go.
but yes, that's my guy, Chris Webber. Okay, you know your stuff.
Well, not really, but try to fit in with the cool kids. Cool. And then, so you're from Michigan and born and bred. Is that right? And
Correct. Born and raised in Michigan.
nice. Okay. Well, maybe you can share a little bit about your background, everything sort of leading up to NFTs and Web3.
Okay, so yeah, I've been born and raised in Michigan. My family lives here. somewhere, you're proud to be from. You went through a lot in life, trials and tribulations, but this is me, and going into this point, I worked in retail and worked in all these little things, and then I fought my way working at a marketing company, and that's kind of where I started my crypto journey. I was like in my early 20s, so I could start tell you as that quick story. But basically, I remember one day a mentor of mine told me about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and I was like, "Wow, this is very interesting." The mathematics and how this will work. So, remember, I came back. It was in Chicago. It was a meeting, and I came back and I took half my 401k out and then put it into Bitcoin, and then that was my journey.
Nice. When you say retail, what kind of retail were you sort of in?
So we basically worked at a marketing company, really. We did all the stores at the mall, basically. I don't know if you guys' malls have different stores, but we do majority of their store marketing.
Yeah, because I sort of have a bit of experience in retail as well for supermarket chains, and did a bit of work for Walmart back in the day in the supply chain sort of team. But what sort of retail was it? Was it more apparel? Was it
Yeah, it was basically all apparel. So we just do their like store credit cards and just, getting them to spend more money on credit.
nice? Sucking everybody in. And then so you sort of fell into marketing. What of all things you could have chosen? Why marketing?
It was that was a long story. So I moved to Ohio for a little bit, Columbus, Ohio. And if anybody is a Michigan fan, they'll know Columbus, Ohio is enemy territory. So I moved there in my early 20s. And yes, ever since I've been there, it been a fight, let's just say that. And I got into actually, I think I got into that company from a Buckeye. That's funny. Now I'm thinking about the story in my head, but I got into the marketing world, and first on like the customer service side, and just kept like moving up. And it was just like one of them jobs that you make your own schedule. I worked at home, so it was just appealing to me. Free time was appealing to me.
Nice. Columbus, Ohio. I used to work for Goodyear
Oh, okay.
a while back for a while in sort of various sort of roles, but there was an opportunity for me to move to either Shanghai or Akron, Ohio, because that's where the head office was. And I think I ended up choosing Shanghai.
That's
I
not
did a bit of Googling
not even a
Googling on
comparison,
Akron.
brother. Not even a comparison, brother.
Well, I think LeBron was sort of raised up from there, but other than that, it didn't look like an exciting sort of place to sort of play. But I'm assuming that was close to Columbus, Ohio, right?
It's decently close. Yeah, it's decently close. It's not I wouldn't advise, these people, good people to go to Akron, Ohio. It's nothing, not that much there. I try to like shit on Ohio any way I can when I'm somewhere. So
So you took some money out of your 401k and tipped it into Bitcoin. What year was that?
man, that's a good question. Was it about like maybe 2016, something like that? 2016-ish, I
Wow,
think.
that's early. That's super early. And what gave you the conviction to do that? I mean, being that early out.
It just made sense. I was like, okay, the way it was explained to me, I was like, wow, this makes perfect sense as far as the currency that, anyone can send instantaneously, basically from, America to what, Shanghai or it's so I never seen a technology that you can literally just send it and then you can receive it. And then just looking at the future, I was like, okay, this makes a lot more sense than just keeping my money in a 401k and hoping to get what 4% each year or something crazy like that. So, it's one of those things that you did and then just really worked out.
Nice. And then, so what was your transition from Bitcoin? I mean, that was so early, 2016. How was your entry into NFTs?
Well, it was the dark ages in the middle of that transaction, but we're not even gonna go that the trading of the shit coins and all that type of stuff. But
Talk about it. Like you. I mean, because that's a few years in between, right?
yeah.
2016 to 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically like just trading. Like you was like, oh wow, this is stuff. This is just a whole new land. It was cryptocurrency to me. It's like a whole new voyage. When I first got into it, it's like, man, this is something completely different. It's nothing comparable, right? So then it's like, okay, what is this thing called Ethereum? Like, I don't know about this, but Litecoin, that sounds good. It sounds like the silver of the gold is in Bitcoin, Litecoin's the silver. So I got into that, and then like I said, I got a little bit of Ethereum, and then XRP, and just all these different type of coins, and then trading them and trying to make money. I was like, man, this is just exciting. So, that bull run was a very, very good time. And then once it came down, it was just like, oh shoot. But I ended up saving everything and just holding, and then just waiting. I still had that conviction that this is going to be the future, but at the same time, I was cool. It was just patient. Like I said, it was a 401k type of thing. So it was just waiting. So, just waiting, everything brewing. And then I started hearing everything bubble a little bit. First, I started hearing about NFTs. And actually, I will have to say the first person who really got me on NFTs and CryptoPunks was my very first NFT I bought, was Gary Vee. He was super, super loud. What was that? 2021, right? 2020, early 2021. It was in about January-ish, and he kept talking about like CryptoPunks. And I'm a really big pattern recognition type of person, and he's talked about a couple things before, like just investment things, like LeBron James rookie card. I remember that one. He kept talking about. He's like, "Hey, you should get these LeBron James rookie cards. Look into them." And then a couple months later, they score. They just skyrocket. I'm like, God damn it! But it's just funny. Like this time he said it, and then I was like, "This is what are these little JPEGs?" And these little guys, they look cool, but what is this, right? So at that time, they were around like 35,000 ish USD. So I was like, yeah, I don't know, but I'll do homework. So I did about literally an hour homework. I was on the CryptoPunk page. I don't know if you spent a long time on that when you first picked yours, but looking at all the traits, and I remember that like yesterday, just on the traits, just all day, just looking, seeing like what's rare and seeing what's unique, little, I call them little hidden traits and different ideas that nobody would thought about. And then I finally seen the one I was going to get. And after like a month or a month and a half of doing research, I pulled the trigger.
Man, why don't we talk about that now, and then we can go back to Gary Vee. So yeah, talk us through your selection journey. I mean, like, I look at the pages even today, right?
Yeah.
I still like love browsing sort of the punks and what's sort of sitting around the floor and which traits are sort of undervalued and the like. But what was going through your mind back then? If this was your first NFT, that was a huge purchase, man. So I'm just looking through your records now. So that was on 10th of March, 2021.
Yeah.
And that was for about, 21, 22 ETH, which was about 40 grand at the time. So yeah, talk us through your purchasing journey. Like,
So, yeah, I was just looking after I did all the research, and I was just searching. After that point, I was just looking which one should I get. When I first thought of CryptoPunks and started doing my research afterwards, I just realized that was the time. I don't know if you remember, but that was the time it was like the word was CryptoPunks was kind of like the first NFT. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, this really makes sense. But at that time, I was just looking for the right fit, because I was thinking, okay, if I get one, this is going to be kind of my online identity for like the future. So I wanted one that I thought they looked cool. To be completely honest, that was that was the number one factor, was the cool factor. Which punk looks cool? And so I looked through the selection, and then he was kind of like, oh, should I go to the floor or should I go to, get a super rare one? And end up converting like most of, my crypto into Ethereum. And I seen the police cap with the shadow beard and the little bling, you know what I'm saying, on the earrings. And I was like, that was the one.
boom. No, he's a clean punk, man. So well done on that, for sure.
Thank you. And a really big thing with the police hat was that I really wanted to get the police hat because it kind of felt like police to me is like a negative connotation, right? When people see the police, they're like, oh, it's the police. But I kind of got my police hat just to show like people should be their own police, right? In this society, everybody should know good and bad, and we should be able to govern ourselves. So that was kind of the way I looked at it, as far as, getting a police officer punk to show that police is the people. It doesn't have to be an authority. And I think if we have that mindset, that's kind of like the punk way, you know what I mean? Like the rebel way, as far as justice, I guess you can say.
Nice. No, I never thought of it like that. And with you, I probably think of police in very negative connotations, but I think it's probably fitting for people in Web3 to be, self sovereign in some ways and self governing and the like. So yeah, well said. But man, I do remember that time with Gary V when he came on the scene. It sort of felt like it came out from nowhere, but I think when you dig a little bit deeper, he seemed like he was, is like good friends with Kevin Rose, and I'm sure they would have been talking. And he started sweeping floors and moving projects as soon as he would tweet about something that was alpha. And so when he came on the scene, he came on in a really big way. Because I remember one of the projects that he came on was a project called Deadheads. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yes, of
So
course.
I swept floors on that, made a decent amount off that flip as well from him shilling. And I think he got into Tom Sachs Rockets as well. I got in a little bit early on that one too. So that's kind of a crazy time. But then he started, you know, talking pretty heavily about all these historical NFTs, and I think he triggered like another run where basically people started going back on the blockchain archives and started digging up all sorts of crazy shit. Like, Ether rocks were popping off, curio cards, and they're sort of saying people were going to start tattooing themselves of curio cards, and so they were popping off too. So, yeah, I remember that time when Gary V came on. He came on in a really big way, man.
Yeah, that time, and another project he called out that actually turned out really big, probably one of the biggest ones, was the World of Women. He was really big on that early, and I did not get on that wave. If you look at my wallet, I'm really, I don't know, stingy is the word, right? With my ETH, I just really go on the stuff that I truly believe in. The stuff that I'm gonna hold. I'm just gonna hold it, and that's my conviction, and then that's just it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to play, man. I keep giving my ETH away, which isn't a great sort of strategic play either. Um, so you were sort of a VeeFriends Maxi, because I think last time, when we caught up in New York, you were telling me about VeeFriends, and I think you were quite bullish on it. And you go around to all the conferences every year, and still to this day quite sort of positive on the project and Gary V and the community in general. Has your sort of view changed, and how do you sort of sit with the VeeFriends community today?
Yeah, VeeFriends is I think of it almost like a life-changing community. Just not even trying to be super, chill or whatever, but I really do believe that, as far as just the experience that I've had so far, right? It's just a super welcoming community. I don't know if you have, like, first the communities that you went to, everybody's just nice. You know what I mean? Like, that's first, when I think of VeeFriends, that's the first thing I think of. Everybody's just nice, everybody's just cool, everybody's pleasant, just nice to be around, even if it's online or online events. I mean, in-person events. So that's the first thing I think of. But as far as the community, I learned a lot. It's like your home community where, you spent the most time with. I was in the Punks Discord a little bit, reading around when I first got into it, but I didn't really dive into the community like that. But as far as VeeFriends, it's a lot of my most close online friends are from there. And just like the amount of I learned about Web3 was from there. It was so interesting. Going real quick back to CryptoPunks, when I first bought my punk, it was the most nerve-wracking experience of all time, right? I don't know if you remember that, your first NFT. You didn't know how to do anything. I just didn't understand MetaMask. I didn't understand nothing. So heart is just, you know what I mean? Like, it's $40,000 on this CryptoPunk. So it went through and everything went smooth. The website is great, but with VeeFriends, it was a little bit more, somebody there to teach you how to mint, right? And it was a different strategy. It was a Dutch auction. That was the first time I heard. I don't know. I think I've seen a couple of Dutch auctions in NFT land, since, but that was just a whole different experience. And Yeah, it was cool, man. It was really cool. A lot of people to help, and the networking is a different thing in VeeFriends community. You know how like every community have its type of people, right? Moonbirds are certain type of people. When I went to their events, there's a lot of devs, developers, and stuff like that. When I went to the Ape events, it's a definitely different type of crowd over there, right? And VeeFriends is besides the nice thing, it's a lot of entrepreneurs. It's a lot of people who are business minded people. So that kind of resonates with me a lot.
Mm, that makes sense. But maybe just for the audience as well that aren't familiar with VeeFriends, could you maybe just give like a brief high level summary of what VeeFriends actually is?
Basically, what it is like an intellectual property Gary Vee made. Just talk about just different traits that he's passionate about, right? So he's trying to make a world kind of like Disney, and each character is kind of like I don't know, he says like a Pokemon slash Sesame Street type thing. But he's just building like his thing is like brick by brick, and he's coming out with some really cool things as far as it's come out with a children book animation series, and just getting that world as far as like the Disney type crowd, and just building it from NFTs like Pokemon. I don't know if how when did you get into Pokemon, but Pokemon started off as a card game, right? Did it start off card? I think so. He has something like that, but he's starting his IP off as NFTs first, and then starting build the world out from there.
Yeah. No, he's it's pretty crazy. So I think from memory, I think it was like hand drawn pieces of different characters, and each NFT from the original VeeFriends collection gets you 3 years access to the VeeFriends conference as well, right? Which is big on connecting the whole community together. But admittedly, I got into VeeFriends from the Dutch auction as well,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah, you did tell me about that.
yeah, so I had the got the gift
Gift code,
goat.
right?
Yeah, and I mean, and I was lucky enough that that went up to a certain level, and I was able to flip out of it and get myself back into a punk. So
Oh, dope.
so thanks to Gary and VeeFriends for that. I mean, I have been meaning to sort of get back, but being based in Asia, it's really hard for me to get to, I guess, the events, right? And it sort of feels like the events, the in real life stuff, is probably where the magic happens.
Yeah, that's like you said, that is where the magic happened. It's kind of funny, like with that project, it's a couple of things that just were different as far as like the in real life VCon. Actually, is I went to almost every NFT event from NFT NYC, Art Basel, all the conferences, and can be completely honest, that's my favorite NFT in real life event. You know what I mean? And then the like you were saying, the gift goat, I thought that was different as well from the NFT community, because it's like you buy an NFT and then random gifts just come to your house. Like I thought that was really, I got a lot of art, a lot of just random items. You know what I mean?
What's your favorite gift so far?
What is my favorite gift so far? That's actually a good question. I have this really cool photo that's coming, right? It's like this little Muhammad Ali at that time frame photo, classic photo, and I'm really excited for that just because it means something to me personally. But outside of that, that's actually a good question. We had this one really cool Blue Label whiskey. I don't know if you're a big alcohol drinker,
Not really.
is that okay? Okay, well, it's this really cool bottle of alcohol, a collector's item that actually I used for like this business meeting, and they loved it, and it was just a great gift that I gifted somebody else.
Ah, nice. Yeah, because he had a few prominent names drop gifts as part of the Gift Goat collection, right? So I think Beeple did one,
Yeah, people did
um,
one that
a
was huge.
and a few other artists as well, right? So I'm not sure if, Drifter did one as well, right? Drifter Shoots,
Yep.
who's another
So
punk.
you get the physical gift and you get an NFT gift as well. So I was talking about the physical gifts, but if you're talking about the NFT gift, that was amazing. That was super, super, super dope. People, he always got something funny. He's a legend. I was just really cool to have collect, a piece from him.
Yeah. No, that's kinda cool, and I do remember Gary have a lot of conviction in punks, which probably gave me a lot of conviction because he got a lot of eyeballs on projects too. And it's kind of cool when he jumped in the Punk's Discord and the Telegram group chats just to sort of say hi as well. He's pretty good like that, being a big name that he is, he still really connects with
Personable. Yeah.
yeah people and communities and yeah.
Yeah, it was funny though, because now that I'm thinking about, besides him, it was actually a couple other people who were like talking about punks, and I was like, oh, these are some pretty smart people. Let me really look into punks. So it was Gary, and it was actually Mark Cuban. I don't know if you remember the Mark Cuban song, like the punk song. That was around that time, and then I think Chamath were saying something about digital items too around that time. So it was a lot like marquee business guys that I would say I look up to as far as business way that were talking about them. And then that's when I went through the rabbit hole.
Yeah. What a crazy time that was. Just in this bear market, I think if anything, the conviction's probably held true, right? Out of all the collections that have gone south in this sort of bear market, I mean, punks have held up, probably the best. So it's probably doubled down on the conviction, right? That's super cool. And so, Blue. So, what are you currently building? What is DDT?
Yeah, so it's actually the brand I've been trying to build for like the last 2 years, and just something fun, something new. Basically, honestly, I'm really going for like the best NFT project of all time. Like you put up like the stars, we shoot for the stars. But what it is it's actually Pong. I don't know if you played it. Is that big in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, there's some dedicated beer pong bars here. It's pretty technical. I mean, they've got like, electronic boards and they all light up when you hit the sort of beer pong. But I kind of suck at it, so you're probably asking the wrong person. But we do have it here.
Well, that's super dope. Well, I guess my envision is I'm making a NFT project off of it. It's actually water pong, so it's something completely different. And we're targeting, from kids from little to old, but just the game. I grew up playing it, but it's just so much joy as far as working on your thing, you know what I mean? And figuring out how to put it into the world. And that's just what DDT is. My vision of it, honestly, to have tournaments that basically the NFT is going to be the ticket into the tournament, and hopefully we get it up to people winning millions, $1 million tournament. It's just going to be a huge one, and
That's cool. Mate, so what happens when you get a shot in? Do they have to scull like a liter of water or something like instead of beer? Like what?
no, it's not really a drinking thing. They have their soda or juice or whatever on the side if they really want to get into it like that. But just more of the competitiveness, you know what I mean, and playing against each other. My whole vision is to try to make pong, water pong, actually the number one tailgating game. Is gonna kill cornhole. I don't know if you heard about cornhole, but that's the old pass. You know what I mean? It's just basically a game that you play before sporting events, or you play before, just hanging out at the pool. It's just, hopefully it's just more naturally relevant. I'm working on stuff as far as AR, you know what I mean? You throw it in there, and hopefully we make it to 10 years from now, we'll have VR. People will be able to play with each other, by actually being with each other.
Nice. And I gotta say I have had a lot of fun playing beer pong or pong in that sort of sense too. So it's actually a really good way to connect with people. I mean, I'm surprised there hasn't been already a professional, pong competition somewhere out there because I've seen like, rock, paper, scissors competition, professional one. That one's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, right?
There's like, I don't know if you've seen that one where you've got these two beefy dudes and they get a free slap. They basically just slap
Oh,
the shit out of
yeah.
each other, dude. So, like, they've got all sorts of weird stuff at the professional levels. I'm not surprised if Pong doesn't sort of get there, man. So, good luck to you on that.
Thank you, thank you. It's just it's funny doing something like that you've done as a kid, you know what I mean? Making it as an adult, and that's what your passion is. So, I'm just excited. Just excited again. It's some more things in the 10 years I will be able to look up, and then we'll see, where it's at that time.
Beautiful, mate. Well, I'll be looking out for that NFT. Let me know when it drops, and I'll definitely pick one up. But hopefully, we can, get a game of Pong in one day. Maybe we could do it at a Punk's brunch event or something.
Yeah, yeah. Or it might come to your neck of the woods. I might take over at your local bars, and you know what I mean? Show
Please,
them
please
what's
do,
up.
please do, please do. That'll be super fun. And so, I think crypto is a really funny and interesting space around our culture and what we find entertaining and funny. And I think, you know, being the 69th episode, wanted to ask you what your views in terms of what is it about 69 that everybody gets so crazy about?
You know what? Now that I think about it, what is the hype of 69? It's not like that at all. But I don't know. It's really cool how in the NFT community that like we make culture out of like the silliest things. You know what I mean? It's just kind of just like the joke of it. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's just the joke of it. Like you'll see something that sold for 69, 420, like what the heck? Just like some random junk in MT, and it'll sell for that much. And it's just, I just think it's just culture. It's just our culture.
Well, I mean, if I'm assuming everybody understands the sexual connotation of 69, but 420, I think that's an American thing, right? So, is it like weed day or something? Or
Yes, that's like our, I guess, National Weed Day. I don't know if it's like this thing outside of America, but yeah, that's what that's referring to.
so 20th of April every year in the US.
Yeah, it's not like a real holiday. It's not like, everybody's
Okay.
outside, hey, happy 420. It's not, it's nothing like that. But
Everyone just gets blazed up. But it's kind of cool though, right? I think we've got our own little quirks in the space. So 69 is definitely one of them, and 420 is the other one. So if I ever do, if I'm fortunate enough to get around to episode 420, it'd be interesting to see who that one would be. Um,
no call
yeah,
outs yet.
no call outs yet if I sort of survive. But any sort of other NFT cultural things that we just find amusing for ourselves. I think obviously the GM, the good morning is definitely one, right? The
Yeah,
GM,
that's definitely one.
yeah, and
Huh, so that's a good question. It's so much little stuff, you know what I mean? It's like little lingo that everybody just laugh like we all gonna make it, you know what I mean? Like toxic, toxic positivity, that's what I call it sometimes. But you have that, you have the spelling of certain things that don't spell like that, but it's funny, like sir, SER instead of SIR, you know what I mean? It's just like the little things.
when WEN, when
Exactly. When are we gonna move? But it's really cool if you really think. Now that you say that, now I'm kind of like interested. It's really interesting how this stuff will evolve in the future, right? Like diamond hands. That's a great thing. That's from NFTs, right? Or
paper hands,
yeah, paper hands. Yep, to the moon or stuff like that. It's like, what is this really gonna be? In 15 years, 10 years from now.
yeah, it is super, but this is culture building, right? And it's like another language because I sort of feel like when there's normies that are coming into the space, I always refer them to a thread that Punk 6529 wrote up, basically defining all the nomenclature that we use in the space. And I thought that was really helpful, but it's super interesting in terms of how that's just naturally and organically formulated, right? I don't think it was anything contrived by it,
Yeah, yeah,
which is sort of
yeah.
fun.
Actually, I'm kind of wanna. I don't know if I can steal a little segment from the show, but I kind of I want to do something fun. I want to look into your mind real quick, and what do you think it's going to be like in 10 years, right? Like NFTs, and then the culture. What do you think is going to be like in 10 years from now?
Man, 10 years is a long time.
Think we're mainstream?
Yeah, I think so. I think like, everybody keeps talking about it. I think it'll be a lot more ubiquitous in the sense that not all NFTs will have value. It'll just be a token or a receipt. And it will just be so common where basically we don't even know that it's powered by the blockchain or anything else, right? So instead of like getting an email, say, hey, this is what you bought from Apple or the Gap or whatever it is, you just get an NFT of some form. And but I think what would be interesting is how they sort of triangulate all of that around to form a view of your identity. So in that sense, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, what about you? Like, how do you sort of thinking about?
I guess I think about what's now, right? What's now, and then I'll go from there, right? So what's now? Um, we have our wallets. Everybody have, well, a lot of people have their ENS, you know what I mean? I think at that time, people are going to be looking at people's wallets, and then they're going to have more of an idea of somebody instead of looking on their social media, right? Right now, we have Apple this year just had the announcement of their AR, VR glasses. So
Vision Pro.
correct. So I think that is going to be a huge thing as far as NFT space goes. So in 10 years, I think it's going to be a normal thing, right? And if we're going to live in a digital world, it makes sense that we're going to have digital things and NFTs. I think during that journey, I think the word NFTs is going to be gone. I think it's going to be rebranded because so many people hear the word NFTs and they have negative connotation about it, right? So it's going to be something that's like digital collectible or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's going to be something, a normal day-to-day thing. Amazon's huge here. I don't know exactly how big Amazon is there, but they have it now. I think they're starting it that you get an NFT for when you make a purchase. It'll have like kind of receipt for your item. So in a couple of years, I think that's gonna be in a whole nother level, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that Apple Vision Pro thing is going to really rock a different doorway for new things to sort of come in. What I can't sort of reconcile in my head though is it feels like the infrastructure is great of what Apple's built, but you still have to pay the gatekeeper, and it's sort of anti crypto, anti open metaverse, anti all the things that we sort of believe to be true. But the reality is I don't believe anybody is in a better position than Apple to build something like that, nor do I trust them to. Like, if you have a look at Google, Amazon, I mean, their primary business model, and Facebook for that matter, is their primary business model is to monetize your data. Whereas Apple is, they're pretty secure with that data. I kind of trust them with my stuff, and they make money off the products, right? Not you and your data. And so it sort of feels like a nice fit there. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to sort of see what gets built. And I'm not sure of whole VR metaverse thing is what it's going to be like, but I think AR
Yeah.
would definitely be cool. I've been watching like some of the episodes of Black Mirror on Netflix, and it just
Oh
sort of
man,
feels
you're going down that
like
rabbit
that,
hole.
like it feels like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So maybe we can dig up this podcast in like 10 years time and tick off which ones were right and wrong.
Yeah, I'm really excited about AR. Just since we're on the podcast, we gotta shout out the Meebits. I think AR is going to be a very interesting thing for Meebits and those type of NFTs because we can have them just around. Like, let's say if you had your AR glasses and you had a Meebit and it was like your butler or something like that, like just kind of like talking to you. You know what I mean? It was doing little tasks and stuff. I think that would just be very, very dope.
Like your Siri pig or something like that.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
cool.
Exactly. So I think those interacting with those in real life and interacting with actual NFT in real life, I think that's a game changer. I think, like you said, Apple's gonna start in the infrastructure, but this might be another company that comes out who makes, a AR set. But it's just important that it's somebody who's, pushing the technology, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you another question since we're on that topic. Meebits. Because I mean, I have a lot of punks on the show, but we never talk Meebits.
The
But
Meebs.
what's your sort of take on Meebs? What are we doing? Where do we go from here?
Hey, we Meebin now, but Meebits are like one of my, favorite NFTs. So it was like first airdrop that was free. You know what I mean? It was the first one that I got. I was like, man, this crypto NFT space is so interesting. But I think Meebits they're cool. They have their own lane, right? They're something that's unique as far as basically the marquee NFT that that you can use in the metaverse, and that's a hot word, right? Metaverse. What is the metaverse, right? And I think we're getting closer to figuring out what it is and figuring out that what we're doing right now is kind of already that metaverse, right? That we're speaking to each other online, we're meeting each other online. We met in person. I don't think we met before online first. We met in person, but just the amount of people you met online in these small groups. So it could be on Discord, it could be on Twitter or whatever. But that's right. That could be considered the metaverse. So it's we're trying to learn what that technically is, but I think Meebits have their space, and I think they will always have their space, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. I think we just need to be patient with it. I think CryptoPunks took a long time before they really kicked off, right? It was like 4 or 5 years before anybody took notice in the sense of in terms of price action and using it as a profile picture and avatar. And maybe Meebits. I mean, Meebits are only what 2 years, 3 years old now, so maybe we've still got like another 2 years to go, and that's probably about right. Who
Yeah,
knows
it's
if
only a
Yuga's
couple years. I
yeah.
think,
So
like, Meebits, I think are so interesting. So let's say, like, right, let's think about we're actually in the metaverse, and this kind of my prediction. We're in the metaverse is what 8 billion people on the world, right? And let's say we somehow got to in 10 years 4 billion people that was in the metaverse. Let's just say that, right? At the end of the day, it's still only 20,000 Meebits. So if somebody wanted to go into the metaverse and style, or you know how everything is social signaling, right? So if somebody has a Rolls Royce or somebody has a Bugatti, right, it's only so many of those, it's less Meebits of those. You get what I mean? Any expensive, like, fancy car that you know signals that you have whatever X, Y, and Z. Meebus is a very smaller amount. So I think it took that art, you know, that Pacific art style, and I think they will be like legendary when you see them inside the metaverse. And I really have conviction in that.
yeah, I think I'm with you as well, and it's interesting you sort of say that because when we look at the 2 projects, CryptoPunks and Meebits, like, I wouldn't envisage my CryptoPunk in a 3D form in the metaverse. Like, I think punks feel right as they are, 2D form, that's it, and just a piece of art and doing their own thing. But if we were to go 3D, I think we've got the option of the Meebs, right? I wouldn't I think a punk in 3D, I don't know, just it just does it feels a little bit off for me. I don't know.
Hey, so look, let me drop this because hopefully we can have him see this. So I've been trying to talk to Noah. Well, I didn't really try to talk to him, but last 2 Meebit meetings, I didn't get to actually sit down and talk to him. But this is my roadmap that I think that will make punks go mainstream. I think that punks should be associated with these different mainstream things, right? So like let's say for example Fortnite, right? Fortnite is a huge game. Everybody knows about it. I think we should get to a point and people who are working on CryptoPunks should try to work with Fortnite and try to have it that every time like a punk plays the game and they can sign in some way, you know, safely, obviously, with their CryptoPunk, and then they have a special skin in that game that only CryptoPunks can have, right? So what that would do is that would make them feel more marquee, feel like it's a real thing, but it would not actually be their CryptoPunk in 3D. It wouldn't be that. It would just be that if you have a punk, you get like a certain type of, you know, skin or whatever. So I think that would really be something that it seems like a small thing, but I think that would make huge impacts just on so many different realms. I can think of like a billion different examples of what I'm trying to explain to you.
No, no, no. I think I completely hear you, man. And I think some of the guys from Yuga, I can't remember his name, was talking about it, and that's exactly the way they were talking about the bored apes, and basically people can come in and build utility for them, but they would manifest as something different in whatever wheel that they were sort of building, which is kind of cool. And but I don't know, man. Like with punks, like do you feel like we need to go mainstream? Like, I think for me, I feel kind of comfy being in our little niche corner of the internet, right? Like a little bit indie, and it's sort of like if you know, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I get exactly what you mean with that. I just think that associating them in a way that's not cheesy, that's not like, oh, this is a crypto punk, but it's more like, okay, if you know you have one, you get a certain type of level of marquee on the internet. You get what I mean? Because I think that's kind of what crypto punks are getting pushed to. They're gonna have like a certain type of marquee or status, you know what I mean, to them. So why not incorporate that with different things?
I think that's going to happen as soon as if the smart new devs, Web3 devs that are coming on, if they wanted to bootstrap and get communities on board straight away, they would build utility for CryptoPunks, right? I think punks and then apes, I guess, but I think punks have got some pretty good reach and eyeballs and all that type of stuff. But again, thinking about the demographics of punks too, we're not gamers, right? We're mostly builders, entrepreneurs, artists. So the demographic might be a little bit different. And we're not even sure the Bored Ape community are all gamers either. So I think that's why they did that sewer pass, where basically you could whitelist another address and get some gamers to play for you, right? As opposed to actually using your ape. So yeah, I guess it depends on the demographic and how I want to bootstrap that, but it's definitely a sort of interesting proposition. But like talking about punks as art and collectibles, how do you see punks? Are they art to you, or are they more of a collectible?
They're more of that's a good question. I would say both. You know what I mean? I can't really say they're not art, and I can't really say they're just collectible. They're really both. It was so interesting going to Art Basel and seeing the CryptoPunk. I guess I call it like the Madonna crypto VR punk or whatever. It was on the wall, and it was just a very interesting moment to see it in person. You get what I mean? Like, it was one of those things you kind of need to see in person, and it's like, wow, I kind of see the vision of where this is going as far as in the art world. So that's why I think about that. But on the other side, I do see it as a collectible. You know what I mean? I do see it have that historic relevance, that this is a collectible from a project, you know what I mean? That is 10,000 of them. And again, I think it's like an identity type of thing, right? That we're moving to the metaverse, and we're moving to more of an online lifestyle, that we spend more time online, than we do spend in real life. And I think it's very important, eventually, that people have their own, online identity.
Yeah, I think you're probably spot on. I think there is sort of a hybrid view there. It sort of straddles both sides, right? It could be fine art, just for its simplicity and its beauty, but also as a collectible too, right? And I think that's something different from fine art. Is like, people wouldn't be rocking around using it as their profile picture, using it
Exactly.
as their identity, nerding out on it like we all do. So, which is kind of cool. And if money wasn't an issue, what would be your dream punk, do you think?
It's one that I think in my mind. I kind of don't want to. I'm trying to make a move on that one. And I don't want
Okay,
to
okay.
make on that one, but no, I'll say it. It's one that looks like actually a person. I think that's a very interesting. I'm not gonna say a strategy, but a definitely interesting market that's gonna play out. That it's gonna be punks that look like people, famous people, or people influence or something. That's people are gonna stick to. And I'm a big music guy, really, really big music guy. That's like my favorite form of entertainment, is listen to music. And it's one that looks like Marvin Gaye, and he's like one of my favorite artists of all time. And yeah, I'm definitely try to. If I do ever switch punks, it might be to that one.
Nice. I'm a big Marvin fan too, so that's cool. Well, basically, this probably won't air for another 3 weeks. So you've got 3 weeks to make your move.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Yeah. And then, how are you playing this bear market right now? Are you collecting, or have your eye on anything at the moment?
So this I'm playing. I'm putting some cash aside, and if everything goes to shit, everything burns up, then I'm gonna take that reserve, and I'm gonna have convictions in the thing I believe in. It's a couple things that I really, really still want, historically relevant NFTs, that I'll probably go in on, and that's half of it. And the second half is just building. Like I've really been focused on building my project. Like that's those two things: saving money and building.
All right. So quickly, what are the historical collections that you would be looking at, and then we can have a quick chat about your project.
Cryptopunks, me bits, a lot of different things. It's a lot of I think honestly I'm still really bullish on World of Women. I never actually gotten that, but I think them being kind of like the marquee women projects, and when you look at spending as far as who spends the most money, it shows that our other gender spends a lot more money than males. So I think that will be a good one. I love the art. I do love curio cards for what they are, their history. Squiggles. So I love squiggles. Squiggles are another one of
Yeah.
the things that it's like almost like it's a must. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a couple of those little things that I'm really interested in.
Nice
What about
selection.
you? Actually, I want to talk. I want to get some little alpha real quick. What about you?
Man, not so much alpha, but I mean, there is a limit. I mean, no matter how much ETH I actually have, there's just, I just want more NFTs, right? But but I think the ones that if I had to, I'd love to get a lot of the art block stuff back in the bag. So Chromie is definitely in there. I'd love to get a Denzel. I think most people sort of say that, but it's hard to really hold on to one just because it's so highly valued. But they're beautiful as well. I mean, I'd love to have one on my wall. So like I like chromies for their cultural significance, but I just couldn't visualize one on my wall. Um, so definitely for Denza. I would also love to get a Matt Gazer back in the bag. I think his stuff is stunning. I really appreciate him and his work as an artist. And then, yeah, I think probably just more punks. And just I don't think I can get enough of the punks. If I could, I mean, there's just so many different traits that I would love to sort of find a way to curate and collect sort of a side collection there as well.
I agree.
But outside of that, like, yeah, I mean, like I've got a, you know, deep interest or starting not a deep interest, but an appreciation for older sort of relics in the space. Not so much curio cards, but like maybe some of the rare Pepes, Nakamoto's and all that type of stuff as well. So yeah, so that would be on my list, on my shopping list if I had enough ETH.
Yeah, it feels like I'm not gonna say this next bull run is gonna be like the one where it separates everything, but it feels like it's a lot of not just historical NFTs, but it's just some NFTs that might just go crazy. You know what I mean? And it's like I kind of want to get them before they're out of reach.
Yeah. Well, I think when people come in and they understand, well, the bet is whether or not people are going to come in, and whether or not they're going to value that and fit in with the culture that we sort of created for NFTs. And the other side too is ETH going to last forever? And I think that's another bet that we're making too, right? I think we've got a lot of conviction on
Exactly.
ETH. So, but yeah, a lot of things can sort of change, but I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And if you were to look across the punk community, do you have like a favorite punk or series of punks that you love?
Man, that's an interesting question. There's so many different cool traits. Like, you have to go with number one Uno, Sean Carter, Jay-Z. Like, that was a big deal for me to see him on Twitter still have Cryptopunks sitting there as his PFP. That was a huge deal for me. I don't know if you were into hip hop at all.
Yeah, no, I love Jay Z, man. That was huge. Like I'm just wondering, like, what was going on through his mind, whether or not that was his decision or somebody else gave him, you know, some alpha or something. Like, I'm just curious about that because he hasn't really come out and said anything about that, right? He just changed his profile picture one day.
Yeah, but that's just it. But I think he's just plugged into his network, you know what I mean? They know a lot of things. So, you know what I mean? They'll put them on different things, but I thought that was a huge moment for me personally, especially, for being black. It was just like, oh, okay, it's another black crypto punk. I thought that was very interesting because a lot of the punk meetups is not that many, minorities. So I thought that was a big deal. That and then Serena Williams, she had her punk. And I thought that was just a huge thing. Like these are in my community, these are like very, very, very big iconic figures. So
Yeah, of course. Man, well, I think the general demographic of NFT crypto is like middle-aged white men. Um, so I fit the minority group with you as well, but I think
yes, yes, of
uh,
course.
but I think we're sort of okay because I think we're a whole bunch of misfits in the CryptoPunk community anyway. So, which is kind of nice.
And it's welcoming too, right? It's not, I don't really feel awkward or anything like that. Like it's really welcoming. Everybody's really cool. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, just on that then, like, how would you describe punk culture in a few words for you?
Man, that's an interesting. Most of my punk culture is just me meeting people in real life. You know what I mean? I'm more. I need to meet you in real life first before we can really, chop it up. Before I come on and just podcast and just chop it up. But yeah, I would say people are high conviction. I would say a lot of the punk community are very, very high conviction, and they're very much believers of this NFT thing, and believers in the direction that these punks will go into. I feel like a lot of them are, like you said, high business people, entrepreneurs, people who are really big into their craft as far as art. I think punk's community is very. Every time I go to a punk event, it's a different conversation. Put it that way. It's not really a conversation about what is the floor price, what are we, where are we at right now. It's just they have a punk and they're a crypto punk.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, some of the other events I've been to, compared to the punks, it feels like it's a more mature crowd in some senses.
I
But
agree.
we're not, yeah, we're not there, but it's not like it's less fun, but it's a cool sort of punk sort of vibe. It's hard to describe. And if we were to talk about a few contentious punk topics, I want to sort of pick your brain on it, see what your position is on it. But how do you feel about V1 punks?
I feel that they have their history, right? They have their spot in history. I don't think nobody can really take that away. I thought it was an interesting story. I listened to a space and seeing how everything played off. I would suggest more people really listen to that story, and look it up. But yeah, I think they always have their place. I really honestly want my version of my punk V1. Is the one of the cool things about my punk was it was one of the first. I think the person who claimed it sold it to somebody, and then I bought it from the person who claimed. Yeah, I think I bought it from the person who claimed it. I'm like the second owner or something like that, right? Second or third owner, and I think that's a big deal to me, and I wish I was like the very first, so I can see if I can get my V1. But hopefully, out in that journey, if anybody has my V1 punk, please, please, please reach out to me, because that's something I would love to have. What about you? Are you big into V1?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm big, but I do appreciate the story. And I mean, it's part of the punk history, right? But like you, I'm also looking for my V1 as well. So, but yeah, maybe you should jump in the V1 Discord and maybe ask around.
Snoop around? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
snip around and yeah, because it'd be nice to sort of pair them up because I think that's going to be just it's just another collectible, right? If you can sort of pair them up
Yeah,
together,
yeah, yeah.
that'd be
Exactly.
nice.
It's more just I just got one minds.
Yeah. And what about the Yuga acquisition? How did you feel about Yuga acquiring Punk's IP?
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was like a masterful move by you. I'll put it that way. I thought it solidified them in a whole different way. I thought it was genius, honestly, that they acquired them. A lot of people were very pushed back as far as Yuga. They don't want to be associated punks with Yuga, but I feel like punks are just like their own thing still. You know what I mean? Even though they're under Yuga, they're completely their own thing. I don't just as far as people who are working with them there. Like when Noah came on and talked to us at the punk event, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not really gonna mess with them," and I think that's very important. I don't think they're changeable. You know what I mean? As far as their trajectory, I think it's gonna be Cryptopunks, and I just think it's the spot they're in is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think we'll find a way. I think Noah's doing a great job, sort of getting us into museums and all that like as well. So, and I haven't done
I
anything
agree.
for a year or two, so we'll see what happens, mate. And if you could pass on a message to the next owner of Punk 8834, what would you like to say to them?
I would say to them, "You're welcome, son," or "Welcome, daughter." that would that would be my message. You're welcome. That your dad came up and seen some random JPEGs, heard Gary Vee talking about some random NFTs, and he looked into it and bought it and passed it on to you.
You know, it'd be cool if in 10 years' time, we get your daughter or son on Punkcast and we can sort of reminisce on
Well, I
on
guess
whether or not.
hopefully I'm not dead at that time. Like I don't want you to push that on me, my man's. But
Well, geez, now that you said that, I didn't mean it like that, but geez, that was a bit morbid. But
funny.
yeah, so man, GoBlue, this was super fun chatting with you, dude.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
brother.
much
Thank you.
thank you for your time, and great to sort of reconnect and just riff a little bit with you on punks. I guess any sort of final closing comments, and any what's the best way for people to find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, BEE__Wells, WELLS. That's it, man. I'll be around. Like I said, just happy to see what you're building. I'm happy to see what all my, I would say, kind of day one friends and day one NFT bros are building. And, I'm just doing the same thing. It's just everybody's just building their own thing. And it's just going to be funny looking back on this in 10 years and seeing how far everybody went as far as what they're building.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, this wraps up another episode of PunkCast for the week. Stay tuned next week for another punk. Bye for now.